Good day, everyone. This is Teacher Bell, and welcome to another learning opportunity here on Lessons Made Easy. Today, we will talk about angles formed by parallel lines and transversal. These angles include corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and consecutive interior angles, or what you call co-interior angles. So stay with me until the end of this video. Let's start by drawing a pair of parallel lines, and we'll name this line A and line B. Parallel lines are lines which never meet. By definition, it's not possible for parallel lines to create angles. However, when a line called a transversal crosses a pair of parallel lines, angles are formed at two distinct points. In fact, not just one, but many angles. How many exactly? Let's count starting from line A. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's continue counting in line B. We have 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 angles are formed when a transversal crosses a pair of parallel lines. And these angles are looked at in pairs. Let's try to identify the pairs from the left side of the transversal. Angle 1 is paired with angle 5, and angle 3 paired with angle 7. On the other side of the transversal, we have angle 2 paired with angle 6, and angle 4 paired with angle 8. These pairs of angles are called corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are always equal. Let's try moving the transversal and see if the size of the corresponding angles will still be equal. Let's use the same parallel lines, but this time the transversal is more inclined to the right, like this. Again, let's count the number of angles. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the first line, and 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the second line. Let's identify the pairs of corresponding angles, starting from the left side of the transversal. Just the same, angle 1 is paired with angle 5, and angle 3 paired with angle 7. On the other side of the transversal, we have angle 2 paired with angle 6 and angle 4 paired with angle 8. Again, the pair of corresponding angles are equal, regardless where you put the transversal. There is another way, though, to locate corresponding angles. A pair of corresponding angles make an F shape. Can you find an F shape in the figure? Let me help you with the first one. On the right side of the transversal is an F shape. These two angles are corresponding, angles 4 and 8. On the same side, you can find an inverted F shape consists of these two angles, 2 and 6. Let's move on to the other side of the transversal. Can you find another F shape? Here is another one, facing to the left, where you can find another pair, angles 3 and 7, and lastly, an inverted F on the same side of the transversal consists of angles 1 and 5. So altogether, there are 4 pairs of corresponding angles. There are other angles made by parallel lines and a transversal. Let's use the same illustration. Have you noticed that 4 of the angles were formed between the parallel lines? These are angles 3, 4, 5, and 6. They are called interior angles. There are 2 types of interior angles, one of which is called alternate interior angles. Earlier we said corresponding angles make an F shape, but alternate interior angles make a Z shape. Can you find the Z shape? Here is the first one. These two angles are a pair of alternate interior angles, 3 and 6. Can you find the other one? Here is another Z shape. These two angles, 4 and 5, is another pair. If you notice, the pair of angles are found on opposite sides of the transversal. That's why it's called alternate. So just like the corresponding angles, the pair of alternate interior angles are also equal. Another type of interior angles are the so-called consecutive interior angles, also known as co-interior angles. Let's use the same illustration. You would probably be asking, what shape does co-interior angles make? Well, co-interior angles make a C shape. Can you find the C shape? I think this one is very obvious. Co-interior angle can be found on the same side of the transversal. We can find a pair on the right side, angles 4 and 6. Another C shape or a pair of co-interior angles are on the left side of the transversal, consisting of angles 3 and 5. So clearly you can say that co-interior angles are found on the same side of the transversal. One important thing is that co-interior angles are not equal, but instead, together, they add up to 180 degrees. Meaning, if one angle is 110 degrees, the other one is only 70 degrees, making 180 degrees as a pair. Let's see how well you are able to comprehend this lesson. Identify the pairs of corresponding angles in this illustration. You can always pause this video should you need to write down the pairs of angles. So let's start by reviewing the facts about corresponding angles. As what we've been saying, corresponding angles are always equal, and that corresponding angles make an F shape. I think the description can help us identify the angles quickly. So can you see an F shape in this illustration? Let's look at the upper part of the transversal. Right here is an F shape, is it not? Only the F shape is upside down, and these two angles are equal, angles B and F. On the other side of the transversal, there is an inverted F, and these two angles are equal, angles A and E. Now, let's study the angles below the transversal. Locate the F shape, right there. So these two angles are equal, angles D and H. On the same side of the transversal, there's another F shape, and these two angles are also equal, angles C and G. In total, there are 4 pairs of corresponding angles, and I'm certain you got them all correctly. Let's use the same illustration, but this time, let's identify the pairs of interior angles. Earlier, we learned that interior angles can be found between the parallel lines and that there are 2 types of these angles. One is called alternate interior, and the other is called consecutive interior or co-interior angles. Let's start with alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are also equal, and they make a Z shape. Can you find any Z shape in this illustration? Here is one. These two are alternate interior angles, angles B and G. If you noticed, they are on different sides of the transversal, precisely why they're called alternate angles. Can you find another Z shape? So here is another one. These two angles are alternate interior angles as well, angles D and E. Again, they are on the opposite sides of the transversal. Now let's move on to co-interior angles, which are not equal, by the way, but together they add up to 180 degrees. They are on the same side of the transversal and they make a C shape. Can you find any C shape in this illustration? Here is one. These two angles are co-interior angles on the same side of the transversal. These are angles B and E. Here is another C shape. These two angles are also co-interior angles, angles D and G. So have you found all the pairs of interior angles? I have no doubt you did great. If you find videos like this useful, then you might want to consider subscribing to this channel for more learning opportunities. I am going to upload part 2 of this video where I would include measurements of the angles for you to better understand the concept of angles formed by parallel lines and transversal. And that would be all for this lesson. And if you find this video useful, hit the like button and share to people you know, for this may also be helpful for them. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more educational videos only here on Lessons Made Easy. Once again, this is Teacher Belle saying thanks for watching, stay safe, and see you again in our next lesson.